Alright, welcome back. Lesson 7, page 26 and 27 in the Alfred's Basic Adult Piano Course Level 1, all in one book. Alright, 26 talks about harmonic intervals. Now, lesson 6 dealt with melodic intervals, seconds and thirds, or but what that same theory is applied to all notes, and that's what we were talking about on page 25 in lesson 6. The distance from any white key to the next white key up is called a second. And when you skip a note in between them, you have these two, skipping one there, that's called a third. So that was lesson 6, talked about melodic intervals. When they're played, that's a third because there's skipped one. That's a third because there's skipped one. That's a second. They're right next to each other. That's a second right next to each other. That's a third. That's a third. So this same concept is applied all over. But when you play them separately, they're melodic intervals. So that's a melodic second. Today's lesson, lesson 7, deals with harmonic intervals when they're played together, making harmony. So, harmonic seconds and thirds, if you hear the melodic second, and then harmonic second, you can still hear both pitches at the same time. Now our third, so, looking at the music at the top of page 26, harmonic intervals. Pause it and play it. Hopefully you paused it and played it. And the next song. But first let's talk about a couple things. Remember, this means repeat. It's the double bar line with the 2 dots in the treble and bass clef. That means repeat the whole song a second time. MF. Now, we dealt with that in lesson 6 as well. It's a dynamic marking. MF is mezzo forte, which also means medium loud. It's here in the right hand and here in the left hand. Sometimes you won't see it written for each hand individually. Sometimes they will put one here between the stabs and it applies for both hands. But in this example, there are 2 dynamic markings. One for the right hand treble clef and left hand bass clef. Moving on to rockin' intervals. The song next on the page. We have a new dynamic marking, forte, which means loud. It actually means strong, but in this concept, we use it in loud. So, rockin' intervals, we have our right hand in our C position and our left hand in our C position. A big F right in the beginning means forte, we just learned, and it's to play it loud. Now, remember the funny squiggly line is a quarter rest. It is resting for 1 beat. It is intentional, planned silence. You have whole rests in your left hand there, right hand there, left hand there, right hand there, and quarter rests during the playing as well. So you can go ahead and pause. Hopefully you've practiced this enough. There is a repeat sign. So, here we go. Rockin' intervals, forte. Alright, hopefully yours sounded like that. And moving on to page 27, our second page of today's lesson. It's doing the harmonic intervals as measuring them as seconds and thirds, and then it's practicing them here in the middle of the page, and then another song that deals with it. So, this song here is a little bit different because you'll notice your left hand doesn't play G and F and G and E here. And your right hand here isn't playing C and D or C and E. So pay close attention to that. Those notes have changed. So you should pause this and look at it. Alright, hopefully you've practiced. I'm going to play it now. There's a repeat, and the dynamic marking is mezzo forte, medium loud. Alright. Exercise 2, in the empty boxes, write the names of the notes that complete these harmonic intervals. And you can see the whole top line is all seconds, the bottom line is all thirds, but pay close attention. We're measuring these from the bottom up or the top down. So if the note is on the bottom, then you're measuring a third up. If the note is on the top, you're measuring a third down. So what is a third below E, or what is a third above C here? The same for the second here. A second above F, because we're given F, and we want to know what a second above F is. So you have to use the direction and the placement of the given note to figure out the other one. So pause it and fill in the exercise. Alright, and first answer. A second above C is D, a second above D is E, a second above E is F, a second above F is G, a second below D is C. A third above C is E, a third above D is F, a third above E is G, a third below E is C, a third below F is D. Harmonica rock. Write the names of each harmonic interval in the box above it, second or third. Play saying the names of each interval. There is a repeat sign. The dynamic marking is forte, which means loud or strong. Go ahead and pause it and fill in all these intervals, and then I will give you all the answers and play the song for you. Alright, hopefully you paused. And the first one is a second, third, second, second, third, second, third, second, second, third, second, third, second, second, third, second, third, second, second, third. Alright, the harmonica rock. That was the last song on page 27. That concludes today's lesson. And today was lesson 7. And thank you all very much for tuning in. If you have questions with this, harmonic intervals or melodic intervals or anything else we've covered so far, please feel free to ask. I do appreciate hearing from you. And I'll do my best to answer your questions. Thank you.